part of why I started and how I deliberately started and did a lot of work was that I want an industry, and I want like a full industry. When I say industry, I don't mean brokers and pension funds. I mean, I've always wanted an
Everything
industry, a space, a true ecosystem
Mm-hmm.
where everybody has a voice. And because I know how markets around the world work, everywhere have a stock market and brokerage houses, but not everywhere. The most vibrant markets have an active ecosystem around them of miscellaneous services, but also lots of different voices from different investors, different investor voices. The strongest markets have different investor types, and each of them have a strong voice. If you think about like how the activist investors in the US market are, like they speak a certain way, then how the pensions speak, and the pensions have the times when they're very proud and they make a big move and that's it for the next 10 years, right? But they make a big move and then they'll have the banks who speak a certain way. Like you think of how they talk about Jamie Dimon, then you have like the people who, we're the host, but they're different types of hosts, and this host have a different voice, and this whole is like Axe from that show is built off certain types of investment houses, right? Succession Succession is built off certain types of CEOs and you know, the massive family run companies. And then you have
I just finished Succession, like I just started.
Yeah, same.
It was so good.
I finished that last week.
I was a season to finish. I haven't started.
Oh Lord, so Danhai is the only one out. The other one out. What do you guys think? Liked it? Loved it? Perfect.
I still liked it.
I mean, that show.
I didn't like it at first, but it grew on me. It literally grew on me, and just to see the impact of how family drama affects like the markets and stuff and decisions like that, like it's crazy. Yeah, it's the reality of how just relationships and the ripple effect of that on the market, the entire world, actually. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's literally what happens. So
it shows the power of like control, like the things that can go on behind the scenes with like a 5% shareholder being important. Like I'm looking forward to things like that on our market.
Exactly. Think about in the local context where they try to even tell you, say you are not level, you know, matter. When you know you matter, if you just read the law one time, if you read articles one time, you say, wait, but I do matter.
Yeah.
But then you see why there's a strong point to be brought that why they would want to make it not matter, seem like it don't matter.
Yep. It's why I started recommending the show to people. It's like, yo, you need to get into this show. I used to say to Dan all the time that, yo, the strength of the show is because the first two seasons are stronger in this also, but it shows exactly what Matthew just said. How real the market is just a reflection of real life. And it shows how things happen on the market. It shows very, very real repercussions. How like what happens. Like only in
connects to the people. It's not just numbers on a screen. It's not just reports. Not just this company put all these earnings and whatever. The people buying all of this.
Yeah. Only in less evolved markets. Less evolved markets. Is it truly thought that, like, you know, the market is the market and it moves on the bank rate or the like? No. The bank rate, let me not say the bank rates. And the Fed rate is linked to how close we are to elections, because you can do something that might cause heavy inflation in an election year. So, like, you can do all of the scientific research around that you want, all the economical research around that you want. But I assure you that in an election year and the year before an election year, and I guess maybe in like a market like the US market, year and a half, 2 years before the election year, certain things are going to happen. Like, okay, I am no economist. Confession, right? How far are we from the next election? The US election?
Soon.
When is it? Isn't it?
Like a year and a half, 2 years? I think 2025, right?
2025, yes. 2025.
Or 2024? Who knows? Who cares?
2025. You care.
yeah, we care, right? But I look at that and I know that barring maybe all-out open war, it is highly unlikely, and I could be wrong, but it's highly unlikely that the Fed is going to keep doing like those heavy increases. The most they'll do is they'll hold, and they'll do one or two falls. I mean, and they drop their rate. Central banks around the world will drop their rate, and I'm not saying that there aren't other strong economic reasons for all of that, but a lot of that come right back down to
this money for doing things.
You are an independent body, but if you don't do what I say, that independent body is going to be run by somebody else very quickly, right? Right? A good parallel I know is I hate giving real examples that involve the US. So like every US embassy, the ambassador in that embassy has almost ultimate power. Meaning, let's say the ambassador says you can't get a visa, Theon. No visa for you. The president of the US cannot say give Theon a visa. I mean, the president of the US can say give Theon a visa, and the ambassador can say no, and you will not get the visa. The most the president can do is fire the ambassador and put an ambassador in that will say yes. Right? And because in many ways it's independent. That's a parallel to like the independence of a central bank. You can't tell the governor what to do, but you can tell your governor what to do. And the governor doesn't have to listen to you, but your governor will probably listen to you, right? So I say all that to say, like, okay, election year coming up, and we whoever we are need to win. That rate is not gonna go up because I get too much headaches and that rate go up. Yeah. In fact, lower it 2 times, and after we win, we'll bring it back up and fix the problem. A slight tad of what we have in our history, although we maybe went a little too far. But yeah, that's something that you can look at and bring all that point to a close. The show like Succession shows how real life affects the market, and how real life, in my view, is actually much more impactful on the market than many of the other factors that people would want to pay attention to. Right, so like I know we'll get into those stories that Danhai and I used to have we be able to talk about, and then we have to edit it out of earnings season, right? I know there's a company on the market now that I consider to be like the tough it out company that I did not think, like if you told me 7 years ago that this is where this company's story would end, I would not believe you. Like, oh no, it would be listed, and owner would be a billionaire, and the other owners of it would be billionaires. I would not believe, and I wouldn't believe you, but I'd be like, wow, that's a hell of a journey. Yeah, there are companies that when they're private, meaning not listed, throw away, pass round, and if the owner tough it out and finally make it to the market, and now it's a beacon, and you're like, I respect this. And a lot of the pass around moves that happened behind the scenes weren't for economic reasons, weren't for the balance sheet says very, but were for, I don't like that guy, so let me do this. Like there a lot more of that happens than we would like to admit, but we all know it because the market is just human beings.
Exactly.
Yeah, if I hate Danhai and I run this bank, I don't care how good his company's books are. I'm not lend him the money. Get the money. Make him go over the stuff. Right? Or the first chance I get to screw him on the rate, we're screwing him on the rate. Not because of any reason other than that's how we do it. But you can't say that publicly. So you say is shareholder value. But who's the biggest shareholder? the guy saying
shareholder value mean?
The guy saying shareholder value is the biggest shareholder value. It's the biggest shareholder, right? Yeah. That's my long-winded intro to our wonderful episode, which I'll have the hottest stocks podcast around do the host of that do.
Okay, wow, what an intro still. Greetings everybody. Welcome. So yeah, I don't even know how to start this because Randy and Danhai have started it pretty well, but
hi, I'm Randy. This is earnings season.
Right. But yeah, welcome to the Limitless Podcast. Joining us as always. So I'm your host, one of your hosts, Dr. Theon Sims, and joining us as always, Dr. Matthew Preston. Heal up the people and Matthew.
Hey guys, what's good?
Excellent. We have two clearly like veterans in the space, Randy Rowe right? And Danhai Hall. Thank you guys for joining us.
Hi
Thanks for
guys,
having
thank
us.
you for having us.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Bless up, guys. So what's going on? What's going on? How you guys been?
Ah,
How's vacation?
no.
All right.
How was
It's
vacation?
work. It's work.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
Nice. So, like
It's-
Preston and I were always discussing that. And I think I actually tweeted it recently. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I made a tweet saying hats off to you guys because I don't know how you do brick talk every single Friday night. That level
We're
of
not sure either, you know.
consistency, yo,
Mhm.
I can't do it.
Middle of COVID.
From COVID, right?
years.
Yeah,
Years.
years. Every single
Yeah,
Friday.
I was looking back at it, and I was surprised because COVID compresses time,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I tend to think, oh, it was started in my mind for some reason. I think last year or a
Last
year and
year.
a half ago.
Yep,
It's
yep,
always
yep.
year and a half ago. But I realized, you've been saying that for like a year and a half. Right? And we started earnings season of podcast long before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then in COVID, we went into Brick Talk, and which is like earnings season, but allow with people, in front of people.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's been a long run. Like Danhai said a while ago, I don't know how we do it either.
Trust me,
You
man.
integrate it, make it part of your life. It's fun. You have to be passionate about it. You have to love it. And even then, sometimes it's hard.
Yeah. Because I'm
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
sure
Sometimes it's hard, but
then I girl say, yo, we have to go out on a date on a Friday night. And you're like, no, I have brick talk.
Like, no, brick talk, honey.
I can't believe what, like her face. I can't imagine how her face would be. So,
I've
This
had,
guy's
I've, I've had
touching
some
this.
Friday dates since the break, so.
hey, I love that.
Some touchy points. There's some touchy points I'm touching on. Yeah. Don't touch those points again, please. Yeah, the Friday night sacrifice is big. It's big. I won't lie, it's big.
Mhm.
It's big. But you make it your own. It can be fun, and it can be fun. That's what I said. But it is
course.
a big sacrifice.
Yeah. And I mean, a part of it is also, I mean, it's not just you and Danai. It's bigger than that. It's the whole community. It's a lot of people are listening. A lot of people enjoy the content. Like I'm pretty sure for me and
Couple
Preston-
billionaires.
What?
It's a couple billionaires enjoy
Oh
it.
yeah, a couple billionaires
Talking
do
about
enjoy
himself
it.
there.
No,
After,
and, and a crap load of new millionaires.
yeah. A lot
Yeah,
of people
and
enjoy it.
I'm proud of that part. That part
Yeah.
I'm really, really proud of. I'm always happy. I tell Danai how happy I'm time people. I'm sure Danai hears it all the time
all the
with his
time.
clients.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're
You know, when clients come in and say, I used to just listen earnings season. And I was like, boy, how often you hear us say, no, you shouldn't think that. I said, boy, I know, but
yeah.
put a process behind X, Y, Z. But end of the day, yeah, a good amount of people, that's the only place we're hearing about stocks on a certain level.
Oh, that's where we were hearing about stocks. Because when Preston and I were in med school, I remember a specific memory right now where I told I was Preston on earnings season podcast, and I remember I don't know if he was dropping off something at Irvin where I was staying, Irvin Hall, and he was driving out, and I heard the podcast book in him car radio, and I know exactly I don't remember what episode it was, but at that time I knew exactly which point in the episode it was, and so we were big fans, yo. All I have to say is we were big fans, and that was the only source of finance talk to us because that's when we just started investing and we wanted to know more. You guys were talking about it so chill, so simply, so laid back, and that's the kind of vibe we like. So
Yeah.
that's kind of
I
what we
remember
do with
when you joined at the OG group, like, just as a med student, just I go invest. That was pretty cool to me. Like,
Yeah,
like,
big up Alex. Alex was the reason that I joined that group. So yeah.
I love that. I love hearing that.
And
I'm proud of you guys doing it.
Alex talks about it all the time in terms of what investing did for him. Like, it just, he bought a, he's not a gym owner, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's off. I can do what I want. He did a second degree and everything, but he had space to do all of that because he was investing his money on the market. He often says, "Yo, if I never did that, I'd just have to find a job somewhere because I would have no money to do anything."
Yeah, investing's powerful. We were just
And,
talking
and
before we
a lot
started
more than that,
recording.
like money, sometimes the mindset too.
Yeah.
Like just, oh yo, the fact that you just like you have a certain mindset around your money, like it just brings it to a certain level in what you should be doing, how you do it, and how serious you take what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, makes you appreciate time more to me, because it's like sometimes when you start to look at something like, I guess if you start to compare it to like your job or whatever, like, okay, you spend this amount of hours, you earn this amount of money, and then you look back on investing, like, suppose in that time I was to pick a stock, or it doesn't even have to be a stock, it's just, as we said, just
Anything.
general investing, pick some other way, other other way of making money, and you look back and you're like, wow, within less time I can, and it scales too, because as much as like people don't realize that your job, the rate is typically capped, so and there's a limit to how many hours you can work, but they don't realize that there's almost no limits to how much it can go up. Like, if you, especially if you just actually do the work, the research and stuff like that, and you actually make it a part of your life, like an actual practice, that you always try, yo, I'm going to get better. Okay, what happened this time? I lost money on this. Why did I lose money on this? And then you're constantly trying to learn. It really pays off. It really pays off.
I think that's where it beats a lot of people too, in how they compare it to the job. Like they look at, I see like people that tell me often, like how much I can make on this, whatever, and I give them a realistic number, and they're like, but I make that amount from my job, regular XYZ. When you think of, like, they're not really putting into the point that is your money making the money, you know, like you already made the money from your job, so you have that much more money now when this thing pays off the way you expected it to, XYZ. It's not just, oh cool, I make 500 a month, so why would I want to make another? You telling me I can make 500 from doing this thing, but you're making 500 more on top of the 500 they make every month, and then
Exactly.
that next 500 they continue doing something else over and over and over. So the practice of it, you mentioned the practice. I think that's where the biggest fall off is. That people does not really making it a part of their life certain ways, taking it serious. Like, oh, I need to be doing this. I need to do this consistently. I need to have a process behind it. It's often just, oh, we can get from this, and we can make a thing and go on business. We can make a food and cool. Versus, yo, this thing can change my life. I'll just continue doing it and just scaling it. Big deal.
So is that what makes you guys do this so consistently? Like, there must be something that there must be a reason why you guys are doing this, like investing. Like, there must be some intrinsic, whether it's intrinsic or extrinsic, form of motivation. Like, what drives you to do this?
I think a good part of it for me is the love of it, like the process of it. Just going, like, picking a stock and doing whatever. I love doing that. I love managing my own portfolio. I like managing a portfolio. I like doing the money and, okay, we're doing this X, Y, Z. That's some about that I also really love. Talking about it is one of the consequence of loving it. So it's a personality thing for me. In thing there, just one of those things that I found in my life. I'm like, I really like doing this thing.
No, I listen to it, and by the way, Theon, like I love the growth. Like, you hear them sounding all. Deion Jackson Miller is like, there's a natural segue to the question. Man, I'm happy to the boy. Yeah, man, the podcasting teaches you how to consider your audience while still getting your point out. Oh,
yeah, actually,
and play the point ahead.
It helps in public speaking too, because I spoke at the DBJ the other day, and I used to speak before, but I haven't done public speaking in years since COVID, and then doing that now and realizing the difference, I was not nervous at all. Like, it was just I was very calm, cool. I knew how to, like, ask questions to the audience. The podcast has taught me quite a bit. So,
yeah, but it does do that for you. So I'm happy to hear you that. And going back to Danhai's point, how he said it, I agree. And something that you said, Theon, and something I think we spoke about the last time, it was our episode with just Theon, Matthew, and I. We're talking about the personality types. You always hear it, like the type A personality. The space does draw certain personalities. Everybody can benefit from investing, but the space, especially the public investing and being a public voice along with it, does draw a certain type or types of personalities. And I think in some ways, I think you have to have that. So again, I'm not like an all or nothing kind of thing. I always joke about that joke that only a Sith deals in absolutes. But I think you kind of have to have that personality, that competitive edge. No, and it's not a bad thing. Often joked about that. Like one of the reasons why I did this with Danhai is that I think our personalities mesh and match in so many ways, where I think we're just naturally competitive. And I don't look on competition as a bad thing. I don't know if maybe it's because I have brothers. I grew up with them. Like I love my brothers, but they're not beating me.
People try to mischaracterize competition into making it a war, a fight. We're not talking about that. We're just really talking about just edge for edge, going at it to say what I can do better here. And in that too, I look at Randy and I learn something. He look at me and learn something just because he beat me this. So like, what exactly he saw there to get a little bit more?
Yeah, iron sharpens iron.
Lovely thing there. Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
No, I was just saying, iron sharpens iron.
That's exactly it. It's exactly that. There's also that. I'm always thinking about how I used to describe it when I was younger as like lazy, and like my bits of formal education, the thing I chose was programming, IT. And you learn the thing that helps you there is not learning languages or knowing computers, is actually logic, is thinking, which helps you everywhere. And one of the things that I always used to say then and still say sometimes, that lazy programmers make the best programmers because they find the most efficient way to get something done.
Wow, that sounds like us.
yeah. But then after a while, I stopped saying, because connotation of lazy and you don't want to necessarily encourage that sort of thing. But then I realized it's not really...
I'm definitely lazy in that good sense that you're talking about. I try to find systems to make my workload much lighter. So that's
exactly. If I have to do the thing, what is the most efficient way of doing the thing where I don't have to do the thing anymore? Or right? So I can invest on my own. I've invested on my own for, at this point, decades, right? Just quietly, not knowing, not talking to anybody. But if you want to get really better at a thing, compete. You guys had an episode where you're talking to the CEO approval, and you're talking about doing the football, IPOs. Not just a football IPO, but wanting to engender a space where you can constantly bring proper football talent out of Jamaica. And I think it's generally accepted that the nations where that happens are the nations where they have inter-company programs, inter-country leagues.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And those leagues build up a heavy talent and also attract great talent elsewhere. EPL being obviously a big part of it, and of course, Barcelona, before Barcelona, Real Madrid. When you get the Real Madrid call, you get the Real Madrid call, right? That's because within Europe, the European football system has, just within themselves, they're so good at it that they have gotten really, really, really good. You go back to history. You read history, and it's the Mutabaruka. Europeans are really good at war. and that gave them the edge why they built such a society over centuries, right? Yeah. And I think about that whole, you don't have to hate somebody to get better. Locally, we see it with track and field. You run, yes. we see the guys that run against our Olympians. Suddenly, champs is like one of the best meets in the world because we have high schoolers running times that other countries have to do all kinds of work to get into, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
And we have high schoolers doing that because of that level of talent, just because we build it up, because
and it's that level of competition,
it's not normal
too. Because
you go
which
to
other
Europe,
school, which other schools, which other country, where schools or high schools are that competitive? It's usually universities, and people say, it's like, you're a campionite. Oh, you used to go Woolmans, KC, there's that competition, and that
it makes me think of like the American football scene, like how they build it from high school, going to college, going to the big leagues, and how the level of competition has driven there from a school level. Like you have big man in Jamaica too. You have big man. I'm a supporter of this high school and their football team.
Of course,
you see it here.
Is that high school kids filling up the stadium at Champs time?
Exactly.
It's people leaving them office in a KC tie. Yeah.
and then green shirt.
Real.
If the national flag ever needs to be replaced, the KC tie. KC tie is probably like a close second, right? And I said that and I never went to KC. So I know a bunch of college man just got very excited hearing that. But is it true?
Calabar leading with two colors up there already.
Yeah. That's true, but Jamaica come first, right? The funny thing, you're going through the airport anywhere in the world and you see a black man or woman in full green or green and black or green and black and yellow, and you're either Nigerian or Jamaican. And if they have on the green and the black and the full head to toe shoes, everything cappy, like, how did you know I was a Jamaican? But also, if they have on full purple.
Yeah.
Think about it. If they have on full purple, it might be somebody from Atlanta or a college man.
I was in Trinidad last year, and I was on a ferry to Tobago, and I was going upstairs because you drive on to the ferry and so on. But out of the parking lot or the parking area of the ferry, I was going upstairs, and I passed this car. Best believe, KC bumper sticker, KC around the license plate. Look inside, there's a KC tie in there. It's crazy. It is insane.
Yeah. The indoctrination I have there. But I mean, to get back to the point, is that competition drives the competitors to be better. If you run beside Bolt, you might not beat Bolt. You probably won't beat. You're not going to beat Bolt. But you're going to your times you're going to be so much better. You're going to learn to compete better, right? And so you do it. And Danhai and I, like I've always said from the like up front when I started talking really publicly and more loud about stocks, I do my little checks and I searched out and I look at it and I realize I'm the best at this stocks thing, right? No, we don't have any stocks.
Danhai's face.
No, but I say it, but I don't know. And the people are like, oh, well, you always say that, and suppose Danhai is better.
Yeah.
I hope so. I don't know. When I finally say to him have a competition, if he beats me, I am happy. And I'm also going to learn from that, like, why did I lose?
Yeah, how did he beat?
Because in the stocks thing, if you think of it as a game, in the stocks game, why did I lose? Is a lesson that you learn to win better or make more profit, right? Yeah. And I've always wanted that for the space. And seeing it happen now is wonderful to me because I know that what you need for that is not just a competition. You need the surrounding things to support it, right? You need the podcasts. You need the people tweeting about it. You need people teaching it. You need people talking about it publicly. You need people going back and referencing, did you get it right or did you get it wrong? Right? That's a thing that nobody likes. But the reason why we're good at track and field is because there's a finish line and we know who won and who lost. And why they lost is very, very important, and why they won is important. If you remember the first time Bolt broke the record, I remember there are all these articles. There's this, I think, New York Times piece where they're talking about how many strides he takes and why it's weird that a tall sprinter, when sprinters are usually think about the level of analysis that went into it and how much better they try to get their people.
When diet growing up.
The yam sales went through the roof, right? I wish we had a commodities market for the yam sales at the time, right? Yeah. Like that's what you need to engender to get the industry that should be out there. And at least for myself, I suspect for Danhai too, it helps that getting it right in this space. It's a money game. So if you get it right, you made more money. Yeah. And I don't know anybody who don't need money. I need money, right? And it's a true win-win. Because even if you lose, you win. You learn something, and the strongest lessons come from the losses, and it causes an industry. You win along the way. I love it. I love it. So that's how we get through doing it every week when we do it. When we don't take a break, that's how we go through doing it every week. As difficult as it can be sometimes, but yeah, it's lovely. And hearing from the people who love it is also great. Hearing from the people who enjoy it, hear from the people who get different perspectives. The switch to Brick Talk to allow people to be able to participate live if they want.
I really love that. Just to hear people. Because we used to hear from earnings season. We used to hear people talking about earnings season. But in Brick Talk, when I'm gonna call in and say, "Oh, this is a play he's making," and very often they want to test the play. I want to hear a mirror and they think about the play. Very often we hear the player like, "Yo, that guy is lining up for something really good."
Yeah.
Think of like what's her name? What's her name?
Top
Striker
the
feature.
striker.
No, the sisters that like JFP and the price that they were looking for and pocket. Right? They were buying at 150, them say, and them say, oh, by X time, they must say it at 190, something like that. And that happened.
I never even remember them.
Wow.
Yo, if you're one of the sisters and you're hearing this link up, send a DM or email, please. I think I also have a prize on them. I often give out the prize and I tell people, if I tell you want a prize and you don't hear from me, I didn't remember. I'm not trying to duck you. Email me and just remind me. You'll get the prize. But yeah, those sisters, I never even thought about that. They must be rolling it now with JFP.
Mm-hmm.
They must be so happy with JFP.
Yeah.
Are about to be happier.
I was about to say, like they're about to be happier.
Yeah. And you guys, I like the line of interviews that you've gotten. I said to Danhai, and I've said to you guys how proud I am, how happy I am that you guys have gone about this differently from us, also differently from me. So you get people who they might not want to talk to us, they'll talk to you. I don't care, just talk.
Yeah.
Because what I wanting to change is the culture of silence that we used to have. Right? I don't want to hear about shareholder value. I'm the shareholder, you never ask me nothing.
We never think there. Before having a space where like we know what it was not hearing from CEOs. Like
It was normal.
Really,
I mean, it's still not easy to hear from
Not easy, but-
CEOs. Yeah.
here we are, them talking now.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
I have to pick up all of our guests.
We have earnings calls.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that addition. I wish more companies would do it. It's ridiculous. Like if you look at some of these companies, like some of them you get almost no information. Outside, like the report, you don't even get
And the report now
much mention of any. Yeah, there's like I did MDA.
Like, I can read.
There's
no mention of anything.
Is a text version of the P&L and the balance sheet.
Yeah.
Literally crazy.
Yeah.
Literally. It's just a
Crazy.
text
Like,
printout.
and then that even ties back to something in Succession where they'll talk about or Succession and even was it Billions, where they talk about actually caring about the share price, because they don't realize sometimes that if retail investors were the ones that set share prices. So you can have a company.
Ooh, controversial words. Go again.
You can have a.
When you say set the share price, you sure it's not a strong balance sheet? Let me stand up for this spot.
show the sweater, bro.
Yeah, go through. What were you saying?
They don't realize that you can have a business. Say the share price, the company listed at $10, and say it was like a family-owned company. They owned like, I don't know, 60% or 55%, right? So they have control of the company. But they don't realize that if we're the ones that set the share price, and for people to make, I guess, informed decisions, information has to be put out there. So when information isn't being put out there, and say the company isn't doing well, but shareholders aren't informed about what's going on in the company, they can lose interest in the company. So you can have a lot of people that instead of buying the shares, they want to sell it. And if a lot of people want to buy and a lot of people want to sell, the share price is going to go down. They don't realize that puts them in a position to be taken over because they're listed. And that's something that doesn't really happen as much on our market right now.
Yet.
But how I see it is that we're like the leading stock market in the Caribbean, no doubt, right?
Not like
we are. It's like companies come to our market, they cross list because they realize, Jamaica is where the money is. So I feel like they don't understand that. So a lot of these companies I'm looking at, I feel like they're putting themselves in a position to be taken over, and it's just a matter of time.
Imagine you own 60 and a man by 39. You could have split the shares and the same 1% out there, and you have to go say something. What's going on? What's your next play?
It don't even have to be that bad. Suppose you own 60 and a man by 20.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other
Like
20.
you have to have a conversation all the time. Yeah. Like, no, you can brush, you can go on, you run things, you do. And if it come to it, you're going to have to go to the AGM and put it to a poll, and you will always get it through. But you know that the sword is at your neck, you can't slip. You can't make any mistakes. You have bonds, Do they have a conversion clause in them? You can't slip, right? It's a real thing, and I love it. I love it. It's what we should have. That's a sign of a maturing market. And I'd say an advanced market, because we tend to talk about our markets as advanced or not advanced based on whether or not we have shorting, or whether or not you can log into my Bloomberg terminal, and that's not really what makes a market advanced. What makes a market advanced is an activist investor can hold, like Carl Icahn. He was making moves, sometimes buying 5% of a company, 1% of a company, 0.5% of a company, to where we are at this point where I can threaten to start buying shares in a company and they will start to shift up.
Yep.
Like that has actually happened, right? Because it's not just about the 51% or the 50%. And I think also, to touch your point again, I think as we move, I don't think it will happen in 1 year or 5 years, but as the market evolves, I think we're going to move away from the 80% days, meaning it is so hard just now for like companies that are coming up now to get to the market in the traditional way, where one person or one family owns 80% and they hold it under one holding company. You have to give up pieces. Let me look at some of the younger companies come into the market, the more recent companies coming to the market. I always talk about Edifocal. I'm biased. But look at the sheer ownership of Edifocal. Like, I know Edifocal when Edifocal was just Swaby, right?
Yeah.
And he was doing it. And by the time he's gotten to the market where, I mean, it's not that his story is done. His story, if anything, is still just starting. But look at his ownership percentage now versus then, right? And that's a side effect of what the business moves that were required to get him to this point. Sometimes you have to give it up and know that more people know about the market. You have some institutions being smarter than others, right? Look at a Cygnus versus the traditional, let's say the traditional Scotia way. No knock to either of them, but like traditional Scotia way over the decades. You have a business, what's your balance sheet like? What's your revenue like? What's your cash flow like? Are you profitable? I will give you a loan. And then you have a Cygnus who goes, what's your balance sheet like? What's your cash flow like? We'll give you a loan, and hey, if you want, we'll take payment of half of it in shares. No. At this point in 2023, it is more common than it was, at least in my lifetime. It is more common now for companies to be raising debt with the clause in there that we plan to list within X amount of years, and this debt is convertible.
Yeah.
At IPO. And we've actually seen it. We've seen companies list that have, and there's this reserve class and it goes to these people because they owned whatever. They had an agreement that said, if you IPO before a certain time or during a certain time, then this converts. That, again, is part of a maturing market. And I love that. I love that our market is maturing along those lines. And I just want more of it. I love it. I love it. It's inject it into my veins. Why?
I was having a conversation recently about, the whole doom and gloom of the market, this, that. And my friend was.
You want to do one saying that?
No, I'm not. I'm not going there. I'm not going there at all.
You sure?
Yeah, I mean,
because the market is dead, bro. I don't know if you heard. First half of 2023,
people
the
are saying
market
that
died officially. The funeral was in June. Gene was the officiating pastor. Like, the market is so dead, right? Right?
Sure.
Meanwhile, people have been making some significantly sensible and predictable profits. But go on, I don't want to cut your point.
No, agreed. And we need to talk about that too. But
Jean? I've never met her, never worked with her.
No, not Jean. No. But I've lost my point. Hold on. My point was, I don't even remember how I was getting to the. Yeah, I was getting to the point where my friend was asking about what do you guys think about opening up the market for the diaspora, allowing the diaspora to invest? Like, once well, you can. All right. The thing is, so with my aunt, she wants to invest here, and you can. Yeah, she's a Jamaican citizen, right? She has a Jamaican passport and so on, so she can. I think the biggest issue was like the tax laws of US, and having to report a lot of those things, and they have cap gains tax, but I don't know if that applies to the capital gains made here and so on. So I know it's tricky, but I'm not sure if everyone can invest in. Let's say I don't know. I think the population of Jamaica is what, close to 3 mil. We have about the same amount of Jamaicans outside of Jamaica.
As inside, yeah.
Yeah.
They can invest. Even Americans, it's not a Jamaican only market. But I think the issue really is there's nobody sending a process to them or gathering their interest in a certain way. So there's nothing that's like, okay, let me make it easy for you to open an account here and set up your investments as easily as I can go about your day-to-day life where you are. I think that's part of the problem. And then two, so there's nobody, if you call like I know what's like inside. Like FATCA confuses most people inside the financial houses. And because that's not part of them job in certain ways, we kind of shove it out of compliance and is a part of sales. Most of us deal with it as a problem in a certain way. So nobody really likes dealing with it. And then thing there, nobody's talking to them about what you can get as a Jamaican. And they are you hear it or whatever, but I don't think there's a campaign towards Jamaicans overseas that say, you can really invest in Jamaica in this way. How they usually invest in Jamaica, buy a house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really how they invest. They just buy a house,
or send money to build a house.
Yeah,
and then comes that day 15 years from now, where Jimmy come back from England and find out say
house never built.
in house is
somebody else.
Yeah. Or the house is a girl down the road driving a Beamer or something like like there's no house. That happens. I think it'll take a lot. The market is open. Anybody can invest. There's no restrictions on them. Your home country requirements are your home country requirements. I don't know about JSC being able to lobby governments along those lines, or they should. But I think that making it more attractive to the diaspora, and I say the diaspora because I care more about the diasporas than I care about anybody that's not Jamaican. No offense to the non-Jamaicans, but it matters. And I think it's more a matter of them becoming more comfortable with it and knowing what not to expect and what to expect, right? So what I think often happens is, like, you listen to Brick Talk episodes where you have the Jamaicans who call in and they're like, it's my Robin Hood and it's okay, so we don't have Robin Hood, we have My Money JA, and you might not be trading on My Money JA, and the J trade thing might not work in the way that you expect, but I always say maybe come to the market with an open mind to see what it is, not what you want it to be, right? I mean, I have the same, like I think every Jamaican, I have a relative overseas who, not in Jamaica could ever be good, right? There are just some people like that, right?
Yeah. That's what they list, right? Tired of yard, no one.
More than that. It's almost like it's that they're looking for what they want versus versus what they expect.
To tell us how bad the market is because I don't understand it.
Exactly. Not now go on in Jamaica. Not now go on in Jamaican market. Why? Turn out because the stock you're in is down. Because you picked a bad stock at a bad time. And sometimes it turn out that you didn't even pick a bad stock at a bad time. You just never bother. You're just talking. That's the truth. Or
you find shots at Casper.
No. Boy, I don't disrespect the dead. Come on. It's just look at the market for what it is. Look at the market for what it is versus what you would want it to be. Because if you look at the market for what it is, you see the opportunity that's there.
But the interesting part, if when we go to the US market, anybody going to that's what they do. They try to find out how this thing works. So I don't know why we have this idea that, okay, we come here and we must do the same thing.
Exactly. So I think just as the market itself continues to grow and be more popular, diasporans will participate. Some already have been participating.
Definitely.
One of the moments along the timeline of the growth of especially retail investing in Jamaica and the popularity of it, one of the moments along the timeline is me recognizing an investment made by a diasporan.
Yes.
Sometimes you see them in top 10.
No,
That is exactly
that's where we thought.
what happened. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I got the. I mean, at this point, I think it's
Everybody knows
known,
it's not.
so I
It's
can
fine.
say it. So there's like a
Top 100 report.
I got a top 100 list at a time. Occasionally, you might get lucky and you get one, right? So I got one and I'm looking through it, and I spot somebody's company that they were on Twitter talking about, and I'm like, huh, look at that. Because at the time I was paying attention to the company too, and I was looking for certain things, and I saw it, and so I tagged them. I'm like, what's up with this, right? And as much as a whole other saga came off that, it actually matches what you asked about, because it's a diasporan who made the investment, and that's what I saw. I just happened to know it was them because of the name of the company that they use. They tweeted about that company previously, and that I think it will continue to grow. I think it will happen. And if you're thinking truly about market expansion, which I always am,
same.
it's the tools around the market. That's why I have my money JA. That's my nice plug for it. That's why I have my money JA, because of the need that I saw in many ways to make the accessibility of it so much easier, right? That's why we've done the app, because as great as the website is, people like an app. So we did an app. So you have Apple's app, you have the Android app. You want to give it's actually linked back to my earlier point. An advanced market is not, a mature market is not just the tools in the market. It's not just the market itself. It's the tools around and the support for that market, right? And so encouraging people to go out and do it, encouraging me and my co-founder to put blood, sweat, tears, and millions into building a tool like this, and ensuring that a piece of it always remains free so anybody can try it and do it, is the thing that really makes a strong market.
Yeah.
But I say all that, and I'm going to give a small caveat at the end. If I had to, I am more concerned with more Jamaicans investing than I am with more diasporans investing, because
we don't research
most of the most of the
Jamaicans
population
does not really see it as an option for them.
Exactly.
It's still a rich man to most people. As much as we brought other people, as much as we've seen the growth of it. Talk to a lot of Jamaicans and look at it sideways like, what are you talking about? Or, oh, you're a rich man, that's why you're doing that.
Yeah. In our episode with CEO of JFP, Metri Siaga, he was talking about that. Like, he was giving away shares to his staff members with 100,000 shares, and they said no, they'd rather take all 50K in cash. And it's
feels like you could sell it. I would give you the shares. You could sell it tomorrow, and then not tomorrow, but when it listed, and then they're like, no. That just shows that there's that gap.
Yeah,
and I think with the development of the space, like more players being in the space, because one of the things I realized is that certain people, like you pointed out Randy earlier, that there's lots of different types of people, right? So you can have like Limitless Podcast, you can have those other people in the space, and for certain people, one of those content creators or whatever might appeal more to them. So as you start to incorporate and add more people to the space, or more content creators, they can start to appeal to certain people that maybe this content creator didn't appeal to. So you can overall just get more people investing, more people learning and stuff like that. So I think that's really good.
Like us, like we're both doctors. So I know quite a few of our listeners are healthcare workers. So, and I love
the layman's angle. I love the fact that you guys are not in this, like you guys are actual. The closest thing to this is I'm an investor. I'm just investing my money that I work and get. It's not, well, I work in the space and I know this person, and I know this specific financial knowledge that I learned in school. It's I come here, I'm a real person outside of that, and I just invest my money.
Yeah, respect.
But then you're just showing other people that it's not a. I mean, it's not a job thing. It's I'm a person. This works for me, and I get something from it.
Exactly.
A big thing too is that people don't really realize how simple it can be, because I guess there's the fact that Jamaicans naturally, a lot of us don't have like a strong background in math. A lot of us hate math. So the fact that you have to actually read reports and then there's numbers and thing, that throws off like a lot of people. So I think
people think it's deeper math than it is. Like it's really just addition, subtracting, dividing, multiplying. Like, it's nothing stronger than a calculator. But from you see them number there, and you hear it says accounts, it just, never mind.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the times, a lot of my decisions is not really centered around math. It's just
the math come after.
Yeah, that's
the math
thing, it's
comes
not
after.
really-
Exactly. It's just the understanding, the fundamentals. Like, what does this company do? Like, how are they
something like-
making money? How can they make more money?
Or when you see like, oh, they spent on this, so you see this big number. You're not running on that big number to do any calculations with it. You're just like, oh, that's interesting. And the most is that big number relative to the other big numbers on the thing, right? It's not
Exactly.
enough. Okay, I need to know it's.
You don't need to know the numbers to
what's
be
the meaning behind
recited
that
or
number?
whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know them buying
Like-
a building and then spend XYZ on it. I don't care about the XYZ beyond that talk. It's they buy a building, what I'm doing with it. Like, it stops being the math very quickly. What's the real life that's happening here?
Sometimes it's as simple as seeing that a lot of construction is going on in Jamaica. Okay, which companies could benefit from that? There's only one cement company listed. So sometimes it's as simple as seeing that, okay, I'm seeing a lot of these like people, it's funny, like a lot of people will complain about, oh, look how this high rise going up, them a build another apartment here, they're building up whatever.
What?
Okay,
You guys
you
are
look
tired
at,
today, complain our profit, Matthew.
but yeah, you look
That's
at
true, though.
you look at Carib Cement. So that's how you start the analysis. You actually go to Jamstock website, whatever. You pull up the report. Oh wait, they're making this much amount of money. They say they're going to do this thing that's going to allow. It's like they can. Sometimes it's as simple as the company can lay out something like, oh, the main reason we're not making money is because this. We are going to do this to fix it. We have now fixed it. And then like it's just buying along that timeline. There was I was on
Same thing happened with Carib Cement.
Signals.
yeah, same thing
The
with
same thing happened with many companies. Like you've heard. You guys, if you talk about earnings season, you've heard, especially in the early episodes, I've talked about, and I still do it all the time. When I do grow and I'm teaching people about that, the two things that you guys mentioned are the two things I try to get them to understand the most. One is not a lot of math. If there is math, addition, subtraction, like Danhai say. Look at division sometimes. My money JA exists to make you, if you're afraid of the maths, my money JA does the math for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to go work out the PE ratio. We work it out for you. Yeah, you don't have to go dig through what the earnings of the company were, whatever. We lay it out for you. We'll go to the point where you don't understand percentages. Don't worry. If this part of the graph bigger than this part of the graph, then they made more. Right?
Yeah.
So you know if something is going up or down just visually. It's deliberately done to simplify, and all the stuff that we do. There's a heavy spin on it to provide information, but also to simplify it for anybody who not really trying to be that deep into it, right? But the other part is what you need to make money on the market, which is the prediction. And it is crazy to me. I said it more than 10 years ago. I'm still saying it now. It is crazy to me how low the effort to profit ratio on the JC is. Companies will tell you.
People ask me all the time, so how you know that, Danhai?
Yeah, they told me. I didn't do not that I don't do deep research. I do. Grow rich with research. I do deep research sometimes. You guys are aware of how deep sometimes I'll go with the research. Then I know how far along the lines I will go when I'm doing research. But the truth is, that is the passion. That is the Premier League of the investment world that I'm doing. You don't need to do that. You can go and play a Saturday ball game with your friends and have just as much fun. Right? And the Saturday
And probably
ball game
make
version
just as much money.
And no.
Okay,
no,
levels
I get
to it.
you. Yeah. No, I'm messing with you. No, you are
yeah.
correct. You are correct. You are
You can
correct.
be at
Because
Man, you can do very different research.
Yeah. Someone could
Exactly.
spend an hour researching, someone could spend a month researching. They buy the stock the same price, it goes up.
exactly.
They make the
Somebody
same
could
gains.
spend 10 minutes researching. Somebody could go, I buy cash pot every day and KFC every Friday. KFC sell the chicken from Jamaica broilers. SVL sell cash pot. Now, if I do the deep research into working out the percentage of Ghana that gambles and the actual youth percentage of Ghana and the general GDP, and I make assumptions as to the general disposable income of the average Ghanaian, and what that might look like in terms of percentage of going into a new game, and what percentage of Ghanaians are tech linked, and how often and how much they play, and add that back as a revenue number and bring it back to SVL's revenue, apply some estimates along the lines of whatever the expenditure might be, and estimate the profit, and use that to estimate the dividend 3 years down the line. I make the same level of profit as a person who go, yo, I'm going to buy Cashpot every day. So one day I'm going to buy SVL instead of Cashpot. If you buy at the same day, at the same price, same profit.
Yeah.
But and another thing I say, I go to the people who go all the time, that I've never met a Jamaican who doesn't already know more than enough to be a really successful investor. They just don't know that they know.
Yeah.
They think they don't know.
Applying it this right way. I just never really go there like that.
It's a weird thing, and once people start to realize it, it changes for them. Like, and that is another part of what has driven this push for years, through the good, the bad, the ugly. That's what has driven this push. Like, when I have seen what it does to somebody when they get it. Mm-hmm. You don't even need me. You don't need Danhai. You don't need anybody once you've gotten it. You can be somebody on your own just doing it. Once you get it, you can't unget it. You can't forget, say, yo, gas there. You can only own one gas station currently. Two. Right? Two. Yeah, and if you buy gas from one all the time, why not own peace? Because you've never gotten back money from a gas station in the past, unless you were the gas station owner.
Facts.
So
that's so
why
funny.
not do it?
That's actually why I fill up at Fesco. But in reverse, Fesco has made me money in the past. So I just say, yo, might as well, because, yeah.
So, here's a funny thing I should ask you guys, which is fresh. So in the girl group, in the girl subscription, we have the chill sessions, right? Mm-hmm. And so we talk about stuff all the time. And I was using an analogy at the last one the other night. I was saying to them that IPCL, in my view, is Fesco for doctors. I don't know for sure. It's a gut feeling. I haven't solidified it with any heavy data. So it's anecdotal, but it's Fesco for doctors, meaning that I feel like the doctors who are known to, and you guys are two doctors who own shares, assuming that you guys own IPCL, but I feel like the doctors who are practicing doctors that own IPCL shares, they're going to use the IPCL notepad.
Yeah, well, no, that is very true.
Or they could just send, the thing is, like, say you're a doctor that's sending people for scans. Mm-hmm. You could say, oh, you can go to this place, but they might just say, yo, the same thing with like Fontana. Say there's someone who's like, there. Oh, yo, I want to, you say, well, you can go to this pharmacy, but maybe they're like, yo, Fontana.
Fontana, my pharmacy.
I like Fontana, my pharmacy. Yeah, it's funny, I never thought of Fontana, but I thought of IPCL. I said, that's the analogy I used, and I said, yo, it's Fesco for doctors. Meaning, you own Fesco, and once you own Fesco shares, I'm not buy gas nowhere else. Right? It's the same if I'm a doctor and I have some shares in IPCL, worse after I get the dividend check. Yeah, man, go down to Apex under the scan.
Yeah.
And most people don't know that, yo, you can go to anywhere without the paper the doctor give you.
Any
the
paper,
doctor said go Apex, I go to Apex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the doctor sent me here. And I feel like that. I looked at that as like a possible leading indicator for them, right? And how much math was involved in that. No, right? And of course, we can apply math to it. And there's the math that you can apply, which does help us if you want to be at the Premier League level of the gains. But the goal is the goal.
The funny part too.
Score.
Think about the same two examples. The person who does like that deep level of research, the person who does the cursory glance. So the person who does less research could actually end up being more profitable because the time that it might take, suppose the share price moves up in that time. So that's just kind of ironic, But at the end of the day, guys, you should always do research. This is not me advocating for no research. I advocate for as much research as you think you can do. Do it.
It can't hurt.
It can't hurt. It's only help.
No problem. I mean, there are things that I have researched on the way of researching something else that turned out to just be a tangent or turned out to not necessarily be. Yeah. And 6 months later, something else in another stock happened, but it just happened to deal with that point. Yeah. A lot of that, maybe I think in my life, the most direct version of that is the amount of the law I know and the amount of accounting rules I know, and I'm not an accountant at all. I used to afraid of maths. Used to afraid of maths. I'm not an accountant at all, but you hear Danhai joke all the time and say, "Oh, Randy's an accountant," because we'll be debating something and I will go, "No." I'll point out my prediction for something and I'll be like, "Well, IFRS 9 mean that it's gonna have to," and I'm quoting and I'm telling the IFRS. I've done that with accountants, and them don't know. Oh, IFRS 17 is going to cause this, and so they're going to change at this point, and that is probably going to have this effect. And when the market see, like, the research helps. So do as much research as you can do as much research as you're comfortable doing, and do as much research as your goal requires. And if you don't know how much that is, more. But the truth is, if you don't know none, I mean, I am always gonna advocate buy stocks. How much research people in that buy cash pot though? Let them dream.
Yeah. Which one is more likely to work out?
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very
I see
true.
people. I saw a tweet the other day. Somebody saying that them dreams see. It's so weird that them dreams see salada. And I'm like, that's a funny thing to think, to do, and also to tweet.
Dreams say what? Dreams say what?
Them dreams is salada. In the same way,
Oh,
yeah, like Salif. Like, like it's a weird thing, but yeah, how much research do people do when them gamble? And gambling is true luck. There's nothing behind that. But the stock market, there's something behind it. So do it.
the actual business right there, the value right there.
And research
That
don't
ticket.
always mean you're digging down into these deep numbers. It can mean, like I say, you go KFC every Friday. You're sick of you went to Apex and the line was long.
And say when the next KFC open, that's more chicken and sell. And you hear
There
St.
we
Thomas
go.
and get the KFC. It's a weird.
There we go.
We're tied back
You
to
hear
the doctor example. So suppose a doctor at a hospital is like, "Yo, at my clinic, most of the patients get sent to Apex." Then they'll be saying, Then they message their other doctor friend, say, "Yo, where you guys send most of your patients?" To Apex. It's like, "Oh," and then message him other friend, them say Apex. It's like, "Wait," and it's like, "Wait," and then you can go another level. So, wait, was that always the case? They're like, "No,
No, yeah,
maybe
we used to
the most
send
recent
them
months,
to
this
Elite.
changed and something.
But,
They set up this
yeah.
new package." So you say, "Oh," and then Apex may not have reported yet. So you are
Or they
able
could
to
have
use that.
They could have sent them to Elite and them say, "Yo, wait, we stopped sending them there because the machine wasn't working, so we
the
send them to
machine
Apex."
unplugged.
Yeah, the machine unplugged,
That's a
so we send
real
them to
example.
Apex. No, it's serious. No, I'm not even. This is not made up. This is serious.
No,
like I'm literally telling you
Danhai's
somebody's
story.
first
That's our
hand.
story.
Yeah.
Our story. Like it happened. Like we always joke about the machine plug out because for a long time we were like, we actually were asking doctors and they're like, "No, there's sometimes you just call and ask if your machine up with your business."
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh no, this machine is down." Like, it's been down from last one. Yeah, and them say, "No, fix until at least month after next." Thank you.
I remember, or the technician is supposed to come next week. Ah, cool. No, say no more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that. I don't know. Like if we were out in public, anybody that knows me knows. I'm nice when I'm out in public because I was raised in a loving home, raised with manners, but also the security guard always knows a lot. The person at the front desk always knows a lot, and they don't know how much they know. So I'm always willing to listen and hear how terrible things are at work and complain or profit. A lot of complaints, like Matthew was pointing out earlier, a lot of complaints are profitable, right? Yo, the boss, wicked boss, what going on, brother? A weeks now, we used to do one shift. Now more everybody come in shift and a half, and them have a next shift. Make the new people them work on the next shift. But we say, what the new people work? The new people them work at night. So wait, the new people working at night, and you guys doing a shift and a half? Yeah, wicked. So really? all wicked shareholder value.
Yeah.
Got that though, right? Yeah, I'm bringing it back to like a simpler level, and that's like a JFP dot, right?
Yeah,
I
JFP
remember
dot.
pointing out how JFP was so proud at IPO. They were so proud of the fact that their factory operates off grid during the day, 100% off grid, and then like 2 or 3 quarters in, one of the complaints that they had around the spiking expenses was that their JPS bill has gone up. No, nobody's gonna put those two things together normally, but I mean, nerdy me go immediately. Let me get this straight. During the entire day, you do not use JPS at all because the entire factory can run off solar. but your JPS bill has been consistently higher and higher. Well, that must mean that you're running the factory when there is no sun. That's night. Why would you run at night if nobody likes JPS except for JPS shareholders, right? All 5 of them, right? But nobody is going to willingly take on a bigger JPS bill if they don't have to, unless they're getting something out of it, an increase in value. So if you're having a bigger JPS bill, why would you be running at night when you can run in the day for free? It must mean, oh no, we're running at day also. Well, why would you run all day and also in the night? It must mean that you have so much work that your factory has to start shifting its hours. No, that's just a guess on my part, right? So you start solidifying it up with other things. So you check social media. Oh, they're hiring a lot more workers. Well, if you're running at night and you're hiring a lot more workers, and you're saying flexible, this is a quote from the ad, flexible shifts are one of the perks that they're saying for the workers. So you can work a day or work at night. Okay. That's good in 2 ways. It's happy for the people who get that job. But for me, they have so much work that they're now also operating at night and willing to pay JPS for it. Right? And then no surprise then when you keep hearing them talking about, listen, we have more jobs than we can handle.
Yeah.
That's a problem, but that's a good problem. Still a problem, but it's a good problem. It means that the thing that I invested in at the start, well, I did not participate at the start, but the thing that would eventually be looking at, because I can get it cheaper than I could maybe right at the start, is working much harder than it has ever worked in its 30-odd year history, right? So
and you can see the social media ads sometimes too. Like, oh, you know, we're hiring, we're looking for this technician and that and this carpenter. Yeah.
And you see work and then you ask anybody, you ask Siki, what up? And they go, me no know. It'll go, our hotel, or you pick dots up all over the place. You know, them do every KFC. Every time a Starbucks open up, I'm happy. Right. I've been watching Starbucks Middles Road from it was just a sign on the wall. Coming soon, Starbucks radio soda. And I thought, coming soon, increase in profit. It's around us all the time. You don't have to be an expert to be an actual expert. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing, and I hope it keeps growing.
Yeah,
indeed. Yeah. Which I don't know if you remember it, Dan, but you did ask about the doom and gloom. Which is why I dislike the doom and gloom.
Same.
Because
so we're here as a Fantastic Four, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Using the power of profit.
Drink some water.